Welcome back to TBI Analytics podcast. We are here with the HHLawfirm in Irvine, and I have the pleasure today of talking to Sophia Habbas, and this is who we are right here.
Hello.
Hello. And she was literally on the spot. She didn't really know we were doing this, but yet she's kind of, okay, let's do this. But you know what? It's important to hear from multiple aspects of this personal injury arena that we're in, not just from attorneys, because yes, attorneys, they're obviously the people that we turn to when it comes to, lawsuits and personal injury, and we think attorneys, but who's laying that foundation? Who's helping these people along the way and getting their medical treatment and making sure that they're getting to their appointments and making sure that they're getting the right care? And that is the most important and valuable thing when it comes to these injuries and helping these people to find that normalcy again. And no better way than to have somebody in your law firm to help with that medical liaison as you are, correct?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about what your role here at the firm is.
Sure. Well, just to back up a little bit, I've been in personal injury for the last 38 years. Primarily, I started out as a paralegal, and then senior paralegal, then litigation paralegal. And then I started forming my own niche where I was actually meeting with doctors and you could say marketing, but meeting doctors, getting to know the right doctors for the right fit for the right client.
Because you saw a need for that, right? As a paralegal, you're seeing what's going on.
Absolutely.
And like, wait, these people actually, I need to meet these doctors that are talking to these clients.
And it's really important to know who you're working with, who you're sending your clients to.
Yes.
So you meet the doctors, you want to pre-screen a lot of the times if you don't know them. And we're good with if the clients want to go to their own doctors, that's perfectly fine. We don't have an issue with that.
Absolutely.
Some trust their own doctors. Then I just started working with becoming a med legal liaison, connecting the clients with the doctors. If a client came to us and said, I get these really bad headaches, we say, okay, you need a really good neurologist. Or, my knee pops all the time. Okay, let me send you to an orthopedist. We don't give medical advice.
Right.
We obviously can't. And I don't give legal advice.
Right.
That's not my job. What I do is I'm really a listener.
Yes.
I listen to my clients and the clients' needs and the pain that they're going through. And it's always an unfortunate situation that they've been in. And then from there, I try to connect them with the proper fit.
Right, because, oftentimes we, want to turn to our own doctors. Of course, that's the initial thing that you want to do. Go to your primary care doctor if you have medical insurance, right? Sure. That's the normal thing to do. However, as we know in this personal injury arena, sometimes these doctors that are in part of our network don't necessarily have the accessible tools to help these personal injury victims.
This is a great point that you're bringing up, actually.
Yes.
We hear it from the insurance adjusters.
Okay.
And with my lifetime of experience, I can tell you this much. I actually had a client years ago that was in a very serious auto accident, was taken to a medical facility, Kaiser. It's okay, I could say it.
Yes.
Went to Kaiser, and then Kaiser just sent him home, said, you're fine. Client called, and when he was talking, he was slurping. Talk wasn't like, it wasn't normal. I could tell something, but I didn't know him. So I thought maybe he was on drugs, medical drugs, maybe recreational drugs. I didn't know. I said, go back to the ER and just get checked out. Come to find out, he had a hemorrhage.
Oh, wow.
Bleeding in the brain. These doctors, and I mean, when I say this, a lot of the health insurances, they try to minimize your care. They don't take you seriously. They hear it's a car accident. They think you're trying to build up your medicals. They think you're trying to, but there are seriously injured people. There are people that have suffered some serious injuries. So our job is to say, okay, I know insurance companies want to see you go to your health insurance doctors. Top problem with that is getting in an appointment. Okay, if you wait 2 weeks to get in because you're not bleeding, you don't have a broken bone. Now the insurance companies come back and they say you had a large gap, you didn't treat right away.
What's going on here?
And a gap, just so we can differentiate what that means from what we think it is typically the insurance companies will say to you, your accident was December 1st, you didn't treat till December 15th. Well, any normal person will say, that's because I couldn't get in.
Right.
No, if it's urgent, you would have gone in.
Wow.
And that becomes an issue. So that's where we come in and we say, but we've got doctors that we can get you into much faster.
Right.
Because we care about them getting better.
Yes.
And also the insurance companies, we want to say, look, they were really hurt.
Right.
They need to get in.
Right.
So that is important. And that's why we don't go through insurance only, although we welcome that.
Sure.
If your doctor can see you right away, great.
Yes.
But if your doctor's going to see you and tell you need 2 weeks of therapy, and that's not going to get you better that quickly.
No.
Then we definitely jump in and say, hey, we'll get you in and we'll get you the proper care.
And that's where doctors that are helping in the personal injury space, if you will, this it can be complex, convoluted, all of that, right?
Yes.
And so it's how do we trust these doctors that are doing it for the right reasons,
right?
And that really care about these people. And I know that's based on experience. But to just, shine some light on that, thank God we have these doctors
Absolutely.
that are willing to, take a lien against the case.
Right.
They're putting their own risk out there. They're sacrificing, possibly not even getting paid, sometimes at all, but yet even some, right? So, but they're doing this because they actually see a person that is injured and they want to help, and they see that value for them. Correct. So thankfully we do have a network of doctors out there, and we're always still trying to see more to see and recognize that this is of need, and it's such a nice tool, and be able to a resource. It's not a tool, it's resources for these people.
Right. So just to make something clear, we never tell the clients you're not going to pay. We tell them it'll be on a lien, and it's between them and the doctor on how it'll end. Yeah, it's not a no recourse lien. We don't do that.
Right.
We don't ever speak on behalf of the doctor, but we do screen. We do work with really good doctors through different networks. And those networks have already done our job by screening those doctors. Yes. They know that they're not fraudulent in any way, etc. Of course, you never know. Sometimes things show that you don't know. But we never say, we'll send you to this doctor, but you're not going to have to pay.
Right.
Never.
No.
We'll send you to a doctor. It'll be on a lien.
Yes.
And what a lien means, just so those out there that are not familiar, is when the doctor will not ask you to pay anything up front. There's no co-pays. If they don't accept your insurance, it's okay. Our job is to make sure you get the proper medical care, and the doctor wants to give you that care, but the doctor is willing to wait until you get paid from the settlement.
Right.
If the case does not settle for any reason, that's between you and the doctor.
Right. To figure that out.
Yes. Yep. But that's what the lien typically will do. The attorney's job is obviously to make sure, or through me, the case manager, or the proper assistance to staffers, is to let the doctor know, hey, this is a case that may not, that it's not, and cut that treatment from our end of it, so we don't have the doctor take a risk on the liens.
There you go.
So we make sure that we've screened our case well, and
that it's if you will, a dynamics of the case. Yeah, it's worthy enough to put this on a lien.
Exactly. Yeah. And many doctors that don't work on liens are afraid because they don't know the attorneys, and they don't know what the attorneys are capable of doing.
Yes.
So, you really need to know who your attorney is, and who your doctor is, and who you're working with.
Yes. And so to have that medical liaison is very important in a firm. I've come across a lot of firms that don't necessarily have that. It's based on just case managers trying to figure it out.
Whoever they can give it to.
Yes. And with 38 years in this industry.
Yeah. I actually worked with Masry Vititoe, who led the Erin Brockovich movie.
Wow.
I was one of the employees that worked there in those days. And
during that time.
I was, During that time, there was Erin Brockovich. Actually, I just left that firm to work at another law firm, and then she came in with a case.
Wow.
Her own car accident, and then pushed her way through the firm and became as famous as she is, and she did a great job in proving something that was needed. So, and you do take your job that way. I mean, I've got clients that have kept in touch with me that I helped change their life, not as an attorney,
right,
but because I was there, I listened, I led them to the right medical care, and they recovered a great amount of money that changed their life permanently, and they always thank me for that.
Yeah, and you got them the treatment that actually helps them.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's
absolutely
incredible. And
yeah.
So, gosh, you've seen quite a bit in the 30 years. There's medical technology that has now, transformed
absolutely
this industry.
Things have changed tremendously.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about starting out and then now where you're at.
Well, obviously technology has changed quite a bit. There was, during the time that I started this, epidural injections were not common.
Yeah.
They were very, very rare, and nobody wanted to do them on liens. Surgery centers.
Many didn't even know about liens
at
this time.
No, nobody wanted. Surgery centers, things like MRIs were very rare, very rare. They did do MRIs, but we started getting more and more specific with injuries. It used to be if you had a bad back, it was a fusion or a laminectomy.
Right.
Now you can get in and do an RF, radio frequency type of injury, type of treatment. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So there's different methods. There's a more conservative treatment, although there's also, some people that have tried the conservative, and then we do have to do the fusion. We do have to do the laminectomy, depending on that. So these are things that are important to know the difference between or an arthroscopic surgery versus a torn meniscus. You go in, you look for one thing, you find something else. So those are important things, and things have changed.
And so, not being a doctor, going through the schooling of it, and not being a lawyer, going through that schooling of it, you still have that experience being around it. And there's something to be said for that.
Yes.
You're a sponge at this point. When you're in enough, you almost become a doctor.
Well, you see it. You got to learn it.
Yes.
If a client's telling you I have knee pain and they say, I've got and you read the report and it says torn meniscus, well, you want to go to your medical dictionary and see what is a torn meniscus. What kind of pain does it cause? How can that get fixed? You just got to learn.
Yes.
You learn and you adapt to your clients' injuries and pain and suffering. On the legal end of it, you learn also what it can cause, and you ask the doctor for the prognosis, not just the diagnosis. What's this client's future going to be like? What are they going to have to suffer? Are we going to need a surgery in 5 years?
Yes.
You can have a surgery for a repair of a meniscus, but you're told, at least I'm told, that it may last only 10 years, and then you may need a total knee replacement.
Right. See, that's important to know when it comes
to settlement. And to the clients, because you don't want the clients to come back and say, you settled my case and I needed this. You want to tell them, hey, this is what you're going to be up against. Your doctor should have told you all this. And we make sure that the doctors educate the clients on what they're going through and what they're going to be dealing with and what the pain is. And we also, before we take the case to trial, we hire experts that will tell us, what the client is going to need if they ended up living to age 75. What type of care they're going to need. How much money it's going to cost. All that is important.
Yeah, because a lot of people just think, oh, it's for now. What do we got to get through just to get better for now? But not realizing that, yes, this could lead to something else.
And Hanny does look into all of that and makes sure that, Hanny's job is obviously to be the attorney, but the attorney will delegate those duties and say, okay, you know what, before we put this case into trial, we want to have the life care planner tell us how much it's going to cost. We want to have the expert medical doctor that's going to tell us that they're going to need a new surgery in 10, 15, 20 years.
Yes.
Depending on the age of the person. If we're dealing with a 20-year-old, obviously over time they will need a new surgery. If we're dealing with a 75-year-old, well, We don't know, unfortunately, if they're going to live
Even
that
to
long
live,
to
right.
have that other surgery.
Right.
But we always want to make sure they're accounted for.
Right. Yeah, because you never know.
Yeah,
And with the technology, we are able to live longer
exactly.
and healthier lives and stuff. So
Sure.
this is all very important to know.
Yes.
So when it comes to brain injury, is
TBI.
that definitely is that a different injury than your typical orthopedic? Is it
20, 30 years ago, brain injuries were only if you were in a coma
wow?
or if you had an injury where you suffered not a concussion, but you actually had a fractured skull.
Right.
Or seizures were coming.
It was apparent.
That was exactly. That was a big deal. And that's when the attorneys took it to the next level. Now, TBI is what we keep hearing a lot of, okay? Traumatic brain injury is what it stands for. That's a really big thing these days. A lot of insurance companies want to downplay it.
Yes.
And it's okay, because what we do is if we have any idea that there might be TBI, we will send them out to get their testings done to confirm. Maybe they don't. I had one case where I was probably 75% sure he did have it.
Right.
And we sent him to a neuropsych and did all the testing, and they said it's post-traumatic stress disorder. There's a difference.
Yeah,
TBI,
there is.
post-traumatic stress disorder. Both are bad, but one's
Yes.
worse.
So true. It is so true. And that's so relevant when it
Yes.
comes down to what their brain injury is. And a lot of people
Absolutely.
think that, yes, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. But when you're actually seeing that they hit their head
Yeah.
and there's something there, then yeah, that could be
And-
a traumatic brain injury now.
And what we do is if you've suffered after an accident, headaches, a concussion, even if it was just 30 seconds, you just, whoa, what happened? I just woke up from something here. Headaches, a concussion, ongoing, then confusion is another symptom.
Yeah.
Forgetfulness.
Yeah.
Those are symptoms that we look for. And if you tell me you're going through a lot of this, then we're going to send you to a doctor that will work on a lien, which
Yeah.
you don't have to worry, how much do I have to pay him?
Right.
Well, a lot of clients are concerned about that. So we just tell them, let's get this diagnosis. We need to know if you have it.
In the first place. Yes.
Absolutely. And if you do have it, well, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. Now, obviously, it's a whole different topic that we would probably have to have a different podcast for. But
Yes.
policy limits. I mean, you could have that TBI, and you're dealing with a minimal policy of the state of California.
unfortunate.
Only requires you to have $15,000. But that will be changing coming soon.
Yeah.
I know that's going to be an increase, but 15,000 is the state minimum required, and that was established in the 1960s, where 15,000 could buy you a house.
Right.
These days, $15,000 won't take care of your MRI and your chiropractic bill.
No.
Okay, and your physical therapy. So that's obviously, if you have that, then you want to make sure that there's enough funds to take care of you for that. Okay.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't carry those funds.
I know, and that's the most unfortunate part about this industry, I'd have to say.
Exactly.
Is you see these people and they're hurting. And it's,
And it breaks my heart.
Yep.
And I always tell them it's not what the value of your case is, it's what the defendant is worth.
yeah.
If they only have that,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that's where it stops. I can't give that advice. I mean, I
Right.
don't, that's where your attorney comes in and gives
Yes.
you the advice of what your options are.
Yes.
But, from a clerical point of view, we have the medicals. I look at all the medicals and I'm like, okay, we've got a bunch of medical bills here, but we don't have a lot to
don't
work with
have
on this
anything.
end.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know it's a hard thing to say. It's basically when I tell people if they've gotten brain injured or something, it's unfortunate, but if they did, it's almost like I hope that they got injured by somebody that has a policy that can help. And
Actually, I should add, if you want to protect yourself, don't rely on the other party.
There you go.
Get your own
own
insurance.
Yes.
Carry a good policy that will take care of you, because people are so worried about getting sued and they don't think about the people that are in their car if they're in an accident.
Yeah.
Who is more valuable than your own children or family?
Right.
Those are people that you put in your car every day and you transport. And you drive down a street and somebody comes, whether they're a drunk driver or whether they're just luck has been bad for them. What do I do? Pay my insurance or pay my heating bill, or my food on the table? Don't put yourself in that situation where your concern is going to be how much does the other guy have? If you can afford to, make sure you cover yourself.
Yeah.
Get that coverage that will cover you.
Because car insurance companies, unfortunately, they don't
explain.
They don't explain.
And I've had so many people say to me, I have full coverage. And that just rings in my head like I just want to strangle the agent that told you that.
Yes.
Because full coverage, all it is it says that you have coverage.
Right.
The question you want to always ask is, how much coverage do I have?
How much coverage do I have?
What is the coverage?
If the defendant, if somebody hits me and they don't have any insurance,
Or they have minimal.
what
happens
does that
to
mean
me?
for me
Exactly.
with the insurance I have?
Right.
So it's so important. So I'm glad we're talking about this, and just for the general public out there, just to understand this. You want to set yourself up. That's why you have insurance. But if you have insurance, you want the right insurance too.
Right. And what everybody looks at and what the agents sell you at is the premium. You're only going to pay $150 a month. And you go, oh, okay. Well, and you have no idea what you're going to be, your deductible, your car doesn't have insurance. You don't have uninsured motorists. That means, there's, and I always tell clients after we've worked with them, I say, hey, your policy really does not serve you well. So go get a new policy. And when you go to shop it, call us.
Oh, good.
And we're happy to tell you what you're buying.
Yeah.
What does this mean? What does this mean? And what does this mean? Because your agent is only looking to sell you the policy. And then they tell you full coverage.
That's it. They just want to get you under.
So we want to make sure that you have the proper coverage. Given the way the economy is these days, given the inflation costs, given the high insurance costs, you do need that. I had a client recently that had I don't want to give too much information, but very wealthy, parents wealthy, driving a vehicle that was worth over $300,000 and had just one step above the minimal required, $25,050. And I wanted to, I sat down and had a lecture.
Yeah.
And then I knew and I talked to her father and I said, are you kidding me? The home is worth this, and personal injury attorneys are not shy of going into your assets. They, people say, oh, you won't get sued. Well, if you have 1530, typically the majority of those people, 1530 meaning 15,000 minimal, state minimal, but typically those people are either DUIs, they live in an apartment, they drive a car that's worth probably $2,000-3,000, and they probably work at a job that barely makes their living. So, yeah, no one's going to come after them is what they're thinking, which is true, because you have to get the judgment, etc. The attorney's not going to go through all that. But once in a while, you'll have somebody that's the doctor that bought his son a car and thought, oh, my son doesn't own anything. I'm going to give him the mere minimal because he's 18 years old. Don't do that. Don't do that because you could get yourself into some trouble. Yeah. And again, no legal advice here. I'm just telling you.
These are good points.
Opinions.
Yes.
You want to make sure you have good coverage because a lot of people out there don't.
Yeah. And you just want to be sure that you're taken care of if something drastic happens to you.
Absolutely.
You just don't know what other people are doing. You could be the best driver, but you just don't know what's going to come at you.
You just don't know. Exactly.
Yeah. So if it's another extra $100,
and it usually isn't that much extra, but it's worth it.
Yes. You don't want to have that regret later.
Exactly.
And so, do yourself a favor. If you're listening, check that insurance policy.
Look at it. Please call me if you have questions about it.
Yes.
I am so happy to go over it with you because you don't want to do that after. And by the way, after your accident, you can't call your agent and say, can I get more insurance coverage? It's not retroactive.
Too late.
It won't work.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of clients, when I say to them, what's your coverage? They go, I don't know. I have full coverage.
I bet most people out there, if you ask.
And I don't blame them.
yeah.
It's not their job.
No, it's not. And
it is the agent's job.
It's the agent's job. That's where they fall short. And we see it on this end of it, right? So given your experience in this industry, I would definitely listen to you. Again, I know you're not an attorney, you're not a doctor, but you've been in it. And that's all that matters. And
seen it over and over and over.
Yes. So definitely the brain injury world is changing, and we're getting into more technology where we're able to now identify the diagnosis better with this technology. And
yes,
we're going to be utilizing that soon here on some of your cases, absolutely. I'm sure. And exciting times ahead. Your firm is doing awesome. I can see this growth.
Thank you. We work hard.
Yes.
We try to do everything we can to keep the clients happy.
Yes.
And we also try to keep our medical professionals happy.
Yes.
And that's something that you don't get from a lot of firms. Sometimes they just work with their clients and not concerned so much about their doctors because they think, I'm not going to get anything from my doctor. My client's better off being with me. And it's really not a good way to go.
No. In fact, it's doing your clients a disservice when you don't have that relationship with the doctors. And I get it. When I was first involved in personal injury almost 13 years ago, that was the consensus. I was the one going out there and introducing doctors to attorneys and making networking at mixers. And some attorneys were like, what are you doing? You know, you're going to actually put doctors and attorneys in the same room? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we're all part of the same team.
Yeah.
You know, and their care and their treatment and everything, we've got to be on that same page.
Yeah.
And I think now, since the time I've even been in this, it's definitely more evolved to where people are more comfortable understanding that, no, you're on my same team. We're not against each other here.
I want to be able to call the doctor and say, you wrote in this report that the client needed an MRI and the client hasn't done it. Why?
Yes.
You know, and then the client needs to be set up.
Yes.
Or refer them out to someone.
Yes.
Whatever it needs.
Yes.
Don't call me and ask me to do the referral. But you, the doctor, chooses to have that done, then call us and get an authorization that we can and will authorize it, but it needs to be from you.
Exactly. 100%. And it has to be taken care of by the doctor and making sure that they're the ones guiding the care, for sure.
So we've got a really good reputation with the doctors. They know that we're out to protect their interest as well as the client's interest. The clients obviously are our first priority. We don't have any conflicts at all with that.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that the doctors know that we're going to do our best for the client to recover so that the treatment that they give the client is also taken care of.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wow, so much knowledge within your arena. I love it.
And a lot more to learn each day.
Yes, there's always something to be learned. And so 38 years, you see yourself going 38 more years in this?
Oh boy, you don't know how old I am, do you? Wow. Well, I definitely don't see myself changing careers at this point in time.
Yeah, but you see yourself doing this pretty...
I'm in it. I enjoy it. I have a passion for it. But I have to tell you, I step away from it occasionally just to
check out, have your own normalcy. Yes.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah. So I recently became a grandma, so I try to spend time with my grandson.
The work and life balance with family.
I try to enjoy time with him. I try to enjoy time traveling.
Yeah.
I definitely love to explore.
Yes.
And see different parts of the world. And it brings me back and it gets me that big, push of, okay, I'm ready to get back into it. I'm ready to get out there.
I understand that.
It's unfortunate and I hate to say this, but I never really disconnect myself from the work. Clients can reach us after hours, weekends. I mean, I get people that will call me and say, what do I do? I just go, and it could be unrelated and they'll call because they know that we're here not just for this particular thing, but you become part of our family.
Yes.
And this firm is primarily family.
It's a family feel, 100%. I mean, you get that. And you're kind of an extended family from their own.
Yeah.
And that's the safest thing, that for them to go through this difficult time. What a great thing to have, and to be able to trust that.
Yes.
I feel that. I've just met you, and this whole atmosphere here is just so warm.
Thank you.
And friendly and welcoming and understanding. You can tell all of that is here.
Yes.
And so I appreciate what you can bring to the table, and the knowledge that you have, and, just being able to educate others out there between, what's happening with the patient, what's happening with the doctors, the lawyers, and everything. And
Absolutely.
So good stuff. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to do this with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that comes up, please reach out. Let us know.
Yes.
We're here.
Absolutely. Sophia at the HH Law Firm. You can reach them at, what's the website?
HHLawfirm.law.
Yeah, .law. Yes, it's different, not .com. You
Not
wanna go
.com.
.law.
Yes, www.hhlawfirm.law.
Awesome.
Yep. Or look up Hani, Hani, Habbas. And I'm always available. If he's not able to talk to you about to referral to a doctor, I can always help you.
Well, this firm is definitely lucky to have you.
Thank you.
That is for sure.
Thank you
With
so
that
much.
kind of experience, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. Have a great day, everyone.